Welcome back to Earl's Animated World. Today I'm here to talk about Netflix's Ladybug and Catnoir, the movie. This movie premiered on September 28th, 2013. Let's talk about it. Okay, so unlike the Ladybug and Catnoir movie, Shanghai and New York, this is not part of the actual overall story of the show. This is more of its own standalone story. As far as I can tell so far, I mean, so far it doesn't, actually go with the show itself. I'll get into that later. But this seems to take place, a year before the show, because in the show they already have their powers. In this show, it's just about them getting powers. Our story starts off with Master Fu looking at the camera, telling you, have you ever heard of, Kwami, magical creatures? And begins to tell us the story of, how Marionette and Adrian got their powers. It starts off with, Hawkmoth mourning the, Gabriel Egress, mourning the loss of his wife, and wanting to use the power of the Moth Miraculous to try and bring her back. As soon as he uses the power of the Miraculous, you see Master Fu in his little shop there. Weird, because it does look like a little shop, and I swear it was a acupuncture, parlor. Anyway, I digress. So the miraculous box starts, moving around, and and with the lights that are moving around, you can tell it's Tiki and Plag. They shoot out. Master Fu goes, running after them, and so as Master Fu's running after, Tiki, he ends up in the middle of the road, and it goes to the part where, and this is all at night, mind you, it's not in the daytime. It goes to the, Marionette saving him, pushing him out of the way, and he just becomes complete crazy man. End of the world, starts running after Marionette, telling her the world is going to end if we don't do something and everything. And at this point, I don't think he realizes that Tiki is in Marionette's bag. After this weird sequence of Master Fu running after her, telling her how the world's going to end, she ends up in, this looks like a storage room, but I think it is Master Fu's shop since, if you look in the background, there's a statue of him. There's a statue of, this saying that he apparently says is, whoever saves one saves the world, something like that. Tiki basically shows herself to Marionette and says, you're the miraculous holder of the Ladybug. And this movie does something that I find very cringy every time it does it. It goes into song, and I'll get into that in a minute. But we go to Adrian's house, and I like the scene. I really like the scene with Adrian finding Plag. It goes to this black cat being in his room, scaring him, and then right after that, he sees Plag chewing on a piece of cheese. I think it was in the trash or something. Yeah, Plag has this really weird thing for gas in this movie, and it's, kind of a Nickelodeon style 90s, if you know if you understand what I'm talking about that. Anyways, monsters attack. You get your basic scene from like the show of somebody does something happens, somebody gets really stressed, depressed, or angry, and Hawkmoth sends one of his akumatized moths after the guy, which turns him into this giant gargoyle. I don't remember a giant gargoyle from the show, but it goes to Ladybug Marionette having to transform into Ladybug, and then going to her having to, go and stop the giant gargoyle. And oddly enough, Adrian's already there as Catnoir. trying to show off that, hey, I'm the new hero in town. I guess you can be my sidekick. And it goes straight into them arguing. Um, you know, you find them all. They find the villains, the giant gargoyle. They fight the gargoyles. They stop the gargoyle. Most of this movie is that. They find the villain. They stop the villain. I don't remember their names, but the mime guy, he's in this. He's more menacing and threatening in this than he is in the show, which I love that. You have the woman there who's the magician, and she's using all her magic to cause, mayhem, trouble, blah, blah, blah. The best part is that you get this whole song done by Hawkmoth, breaking them out of prison, which this is the only song I actually like in it. And it just feels like really, really, really Princess and the Frog, Dr. Facilier style type of song. And it was just wonderful. So they're both in prison. He's like just blowing things up to get them out of prison. And this movie goes crazy at times like that. It's I don't know what to say, really. So the other characters we have in this are Alia. With Alia being in it, this movie is her just as Marionette and Alia just meeting for the first time and being friends. You have Nino is already Adrian's friends. They've already been friends for a while now. You have Gabriel, who's mourning the loss of his wife throughout this whole movie. You have Natalie in it. She's Gabriel's assistant still. I guess she knows what's going on. I really don't understand that part with her in this movie. So all the characters are here in this movie. Every character that you've seen in the show. With the only exception of them, the only characters you get to know are Gabriel, Adrian, Marionette, Alia, Nino, a little bit about Marionette's parents. Natalie's in it for a bit. Other than that, the other characters are mainly background characters. You really don't see them. This is Marionette just getting to school and, her already having a history of being the weird girl in school. And nobody really interacts with her. I can understand that for the purpose of this movie because, it's a movie. Most of this movie is, a good chunk of it is just Marionette and Adrian getting to know their powers, basically. A little bit about, with parts about Ladybug and Catnoir getting to know each other. So let me talk about the villains for a minute. You got the mime, you got the magician there, you got the gargoyle, the first villain. You got Hawkmoth, obviously Hawkmoth. But then out of left field, one of the villains is created by a villain, the magician there. So while they're all at this local fair, the magician attacks, the mime there attacks, and, Marionette does, she transforms, goes to help, and you see this kind of, looks like maybe a baby wrapped up on the ground, and these balloon animal dogs attacking it. Which is just funny because they're balloons. They don't have any mouths. And that part I actually thought was really funny. And then when Marionette goes to grab the baby, it's not a baby, it's another balloon that transforms into this giant monster. And besides Mayora's kumatized, creatures there, I don't think we've ever seen this before where a villain has made a monster of its own. And it's just this giant, weird looking balloon monster. And they have to basically pop it. And that was it with that one. So, because of the purpose of the next part of the movie that I want to talk about, let's get into the music here. Oh, dear Lord, the music. I didn't like the songs at all. I did not like the vocals in this. You go from, Marionette sounding like, she should, the voice actors are back. Some of them do not sound the same. They sound like characters are a little older. But as soon as Marinette starts singing, it doesn't sound right. We go from like 13, 14-year-old girl to sounding like she's in her 30s. And, that wouldn't bother me as much if the lyrics were good. The lyrics are really bad. I think they could have done better. I know somebody's going to say, well, this is translated over from a French movie. They still could have done better. It's Ladybug and Catnoir. It's Zag. Zag always puts money into things. I mean, go look on their website. This is not an advertisement for their website or a sponsor, but go look on their website. Trust me, it's not just toys. If you've seen my videos, there's jewelry on there. I seriously think they could have put a lot more effort into the music. With that said, is all of it bad? No. Like I said before, I love Gabriel's song. I love the villain song. It was wonderful. It's really uppity. It's really fun to watch. So let's get into the design of the characters. The characters are wonderful. They look like money was spent to make these. They do not look like your kind of, I want to say not flat, but, basic, CG characters. With the exception to me, I don't know if it's just me, Alia, she looks like she's a lot older in this, she looks like she's, in her mid-20s, early 30s in this. And that kind of bothers me throughout the whole show. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. It could be just me, You have the costumes are done so much better. They're so much clearer looking. There's much more design to them. I love the design of Cat Noir's outfit in this. The costume's just wonderful in it. So Hawkmoth is just more menacing looking in this. And, it could be the lighting on him. It could be the fact that they're using a lot of blues and purples in the mix of his costume. I love the fact that it's not going like this elevator raising down and this elevator raising up, which makes no sense to me, to apparently secret rooms in his house. So, it's just a room behind the painting. If you've ever seen the show, there's a room behind the painting in his office. So that was wonderful, just seeing that. Marinette's parents, they're there, but, you don't see them much. They're there every now and then they're in the morning encouraging her. When Marinette at the beginning there is going from the, after the first time they lose the gargoyle monster, it's going to her saying, she's got to get home, and her parents driving home saying, well, at least with all this madness, our little girl's at home. You don't see too much of them. You kind of get a sense of who they are in it, though. So, there's that. When I was talking about the lyrics, I didn't talk about the music. The overall orchestra of this, the instruments alone, it's just amazing. The instrumentals of this movie are just wonderful. It conveys a lot of emotion just in the instrumentals alone. I don't think they actually needed all those songs in it. I know they wanted to make it a musical, but they didn't need all those songs. The vocals, I don't think were all needed. Marinette song. There's one song in it that, I didn't care for, but, it would have made sense instead of, the music songs we had were basically, I'm a shy character song. I can't do this song. Am I really a hero song? The villain song, which was wonderful. And we get the montage song. So, I can't remember if there was any other songs in it. They really weren't that effective of me remembering them. So, here's the thing about this. I'm going to talk about the end of the movie. I've gone to the beginning, I've gone through the middle, and I've gone through the music, I've gone through the characters. Let's talk about the ending. Warning, just warning you, spoilers ahead. All right. So, my favorite part of this movie is, the climax of the movie. Hawkmoth is, down on it. He's really stressed, depressed. nothing's going his way. At one point, it's sometime after the fair, carnival, whatever you want to call it. He's walking down the stairs, and Adrian's walking through the door, and he'll, this is supposed to be, a movie for kids. I don't remember the rating. Put it here somewhere. But he looks like he's drunk. He looks like he's been drinking. He's got that 5 o'clock shadow. He's staggering around. He's slurring his words. There's a part in this, where Gabriel is remembering what happened back then, on why everything went wrong. His wife dying, they were happy together. It's him, his wife, he was happy. Adrian comes along, he's happy, his wife goes away, and he basically goes crazy from that. And when he finds the moth miraculous, it doesn't make things better. It makes them worse for him. And then he decides to use the miraculous. So at the end, in his grief, he decides, you want a villain, I'm going to give you a villain. A real villain. He akumatizes himself as Hawkmoth. He doesn't change into, I have no clue what that character from the show was. I can't remember. I'm terrible with names from the show. Wonderful character, though. I do love how he, that character went around. But, we have now an akumatized Hawkmoth. We don't have the Monarch. This is Hawkmoth at his worst, which is his best. And, the fight with Ladybug and Catnoir is just amazing because, you think at one point they might lose it. Like I said, spoilers, beware. I'm going to tell you how it ends. So there's this huge fight with Ladybug, Catnoir, Hawkmoth, and they're fighting out in Paris. And Hawkmoth ends up getting the earrings. He absorbs the earrings, and he goes straight for the ring. He doesn't even realize it's Marionette behind him. But it's the fight with Catnoir the best. He is beating the living daylights out of Catnoir. And then there's a point in it where he's beat him so much. I'm reminded Under the Red Hood at this point. If you've ever seen Under the Red Hood, And then half of the mask falls off of him. And Gabriel just has this look of horror on his face that the whole Catnoir, that the whole, Hawkmoth thing just disintegrates on him. He is distraught. He is depressed. He is screaming, because of, he realized he just beat the living daylights out of his son. And that, the scene is incredibly violent. So you got Adrian wakes up and looks and sees it's his father was Hawkmoth and tells him, he's there for him. Everything's going to be okay. It's not too long of a whole, at the end, we got the whole, speech that the hero's giving, but Marionette gets the earrings back. The costume transforms back on her. She tells the people of Paris, as long as Ladybug and Catnoir are here, everything's going to be okay. She does the whole, lucky charm. Everything goes back to normal. Gabriel is arrested. The news at the end is, that, Hawkmoth was really the fashion mogul Gabriel Egress. We get the whole "don't be amused, it's just the news." And wow, it was just an amazing. It was just, the ending was just wonderful with that one. I did love the ending, but we kind of get a what's the word I'm looking for? We get a sequel bait ending. So, would I like to see a sequel? Yes, I would. I'm not spoiling the sequel bait ending, so for that, if you haven't watched it, It's on Netflix right now. It is airing on Netflix. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere. It's got a from actual, reviewers, it doesn't have a great review. From audiences, it's 50-50. It's cut in the middle. With me, I like to give things on a scale of, 1 to 5. I give this a 3.6 out of 5. There were some things in it that, could have done without. Some, parts of it that just felt like it, flew through the story. Like I said, I did not like the vocals in it. I am really adamant about that, Would I like to see another one of these movies in this continuity of story and not trying to stem off the main story of the show? Yes, I would really love to see that. I'd also love to see an anime adaptation of it. I don't think we're going to get that, but, maybe next year we'll hear something from the Zag company. Maybe Jeremy Zag will get out on his Twitter feed and say, hey, we're making a Ladybug and Catnoir 2 for Netflix. If it was in theaters, would I go see it in theaters? Definitely. This actually was in theaters in France, a week before it was on Netflix in the United States. So, yeah, I'd love to see it in theaters, even if it's like a limited run, just to see what they could do with it. Would I like it to be another musical? Oh, no. No. I do not want to see another musical. That was so bad. Do I recommend this? Yes, I recommend. If you are a fan of Ladybug and Catnoir, if you are a fan of superheroes altogether, if you want to kind of get a glimpse at what Ladybug and Catnoir is about, go watch this movie if you have Netflix. It's not streaming anywhere else. Other than that, did you like this review? Do you want to see more reviews? I have hopefully, crossing my fingers, another one coming up soon, in the next month or so. Till that, like, subscribe, hit the notifications. It really helps my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.